This is part 2 of our chipping technique and our basic chipping technique. Now in our earlier video we discussed what we should be doing with our body and how we should stand to the ball. To add to that, we'd like to discuss a little bit about what you're supposed to do with the club. So a golf club, if we were to put this in a loft and lie machine, if we didn't have any information and we didn't know what kind of a club this was, and we had to figure it out, it would go into a loft and lie machine, which is a device to measure what clubs are and how they're sitting. Golf clubs sit like that in a loft lie machine. What we can see there is that there is a lot of forward shaft lean. That's how they sit in the loft and lie machine. So your job as a golfer is to deliver the club to the ball in that manner. So with regards to what do we do, how much shoulder rotation, how much wrist should we be using? Should we be using wrist? In my opinion, you can pretty much do whatever you like, really, as long as those first 5 rules that we discussed earlier, which was the shoe distance off the ball off your back foot, your feet being slightly open to your target, your hands left and your weight left, were the 5 big rules of setup. And to add to the setup, we had the philosophy of always hitting down into the grass. We've got the ball in the right position, we just need to confidently go ahead and hit some grass. With regards to movement, well, the best players in the world do have a slight little wrist hinge. Then they come down into the back of the ball with that forward shaft lean we discussed there, and they continue on holding their wrists. We always tell beginners, because a lot of beginners come in and they start doing this, we say, no, don't use your wrists. So it's really up to you. But I would definitely suggest, in terms of your technique, if you were working on a practice swing, that you had a small little bit of a wrist hinge, hinged into the ball, and then held it going through. It's a bit of a hinge and hold method. That's what the best in the world do, generally speaking. And that's what I would recommend for anyone, depending on their level. Doesn't really matter. The only thing that can really get you into trouble here is if the club head gets behind your hand line. Then we're in a little bit of trouble. So about the only thing I would add to that in terms of should we be using a little bit of wrist, shouldn't we be using any wrist, is to, in a practice move, try and keep the club head just a little bit out in front of your hand line. It's when we get behind that we get into the dreaded S word and some sort of difficulties there. So let's go again. Let's see if we can do our job first. Our first and foremost job is to hit the ball properly first. Your second job is to get then the ball to flight the same way over and over again, with all things being considered, the lie being the same. Your fourth job is to get it to go the right length, and your last job is to be accurate with it. But if you're not doing your first job, well then that's what you need to work on. So here we go, we've got our 5 rules. 1 shoe, ball off your back foot, slightly open stance, shoulders staying parallel to your target line, hands forward or hands left and weight left. You're virtually standing on that left foot the whole time. Heavy club head, that means soft fingers on the grip. Now we can go ahead and hit down into the back of the ball. Okay, I got the same flight as I did on the last shot. We hit down into the grass because I've just stood on my divot. And that's what we're trying to do with our chipping, is to hit the ball properly first. Repeat flight over and over again. That'll give you feel. How do you get feel in golf? How do you get feel with chipping? Well, if one ball's going like that and the next one's going like that, it's difficult to get feel. But if you're continually hitting a low, flat shot, you will get feel because you've got some consistency happening there. Consistency equals feel. So follow those 5 rules. Keep the club a little bit out in front of your hands. Confidently go ahead and hit down into some grass. That's what we want to do. We want to dominate. We want to dictate the terms to the ball here rather than sort of having it out here and fishing it up towards the target. Follow those 5 rules and I guarantee you will be more consistent and will help your game. Good luck.